Welcome back to another video where I ramble for a few minutes about a theoretical game that I might create one day if I ever learn. Maybe I'll just adapt it into a TTRPG. Who's to say? Anyways, today's video is going to be about world building. We're going to go over some of the stuff that I would put into the world of this theoretical game that I like to ramble about, right? Now, the world of this game is built very, very heavily on its magic, right? The entire thing is built from the ground up for you to be able to creatively engineer your own spells, right? It's built so that the magic can do anything you want or need it to. Now, what this means is that all the cultures are going to be built really heavily on this magic. And in the canon of the world, I want the magic to, like the spell circles and stuff, I want that to be written a lot by like mathematical concepts, right? So I'm talking like spell circles. Each layer of the spell circle will have like math equations for like velocity and distance and angle, the elements that make up the spell, volume, size, shape, all different things of that sort, so that the spells can be created from the ground up, do anything you need. Now, the cultures that will be dependent on this magic are going to have all your standard fantasy stuff, right? You're going to have, you know, dwarves that are good at smithing, elves that live in the woods, dragons that breathe fire. Standard high fantasy affair. What's going to set apart, though, is how the magical abilities of each of these races manifest themselves. For example, elves, generally the way elves are used, very Tolkien-esque, like high and mighty, immortal, good at archery, live in the woods. So they would do things like cast spells on their legs that let them like run super nimbly. Maybe on their eyes they can track things better. Maybe on their like heart, internal organs, increase their lifespan. Dwarves, they would have spells that regulate temperature so they can work in the forges. The big one though, and this is the one that I've really fleshed out a lot, is the dragons. Now dragons, iconic in fantasy, right? They're dragons, giant fire-breathing flying lizards. How dragons are going to be manifest is they're essentially just going to be giant ass lizards, right? And that's going to go for any different variety of them. Big lizard, maybe some of them are more amphibious, but generally, big lizard. What's going to make these more draconic is the way they use their magic. So in each different draconic culture in various parts of the world, you'll have aquatic, you'll have mountainous, you'll have on the plains, things of that sort. Each dragon culture is going to have a coming of age ceremony of sorts where their young inscribe these magic circles on themselves to give themselves flight or fire breathing, things of that sort. So let's start with the standard mountainous dragons. These are going to be your standard giant flying lizards that breathe fire, right? Their coming of age ceremony, they don't have naturally growing wings. Rather, how it's going to work, they'll inscribe magic circles on their back that give them jet boosters. Eh? Eh? And then they'll inscribe magic circles around their neck that gives them their fire breath. Now, if we go to aquatic dragons naturally would have evolved to breathe water. You know, they'd probably be completely amphibious, can breathe air and water. I don't know enough about biology to go into a whole lot more detail than that, but that's the base we're having to work with. Now, how the water dragons would manifest their flight, because they're amphibious, they are going to go above water as well, not just in the oceans. How they would manifest their flight is, I imagine they would inscribe magic circles around their ankles, and then they would step, and it would create like an invisible platform in the air, right? They'd be literally stepping on the air. Very elegant, bounding, running motion across the skies, right? Then we might have underground dragons that have spells specifically built for them to burrow a lot easier, and detection with their ears because they're burrowing. They live underground. They wouldn't have eyesight. And so that's the basis of how the cultures in this world are going to be constructed. All of it's going to be very heavily dependent on magic. That's how this is all going to work. Because magic is cool, and that idea is what gave me the idea to create this, whatever it ends up becoming in the first place. And this is going to continue with, all sorts of stuff. You'd have your standard, you know, demons, orcs, bird people, what have you, right? All of them, except probably the bird people probably have natural flight because they're bird people. But point is, all of them, all these standard fantasy abilities they would have, manifested entirely through creating these magic circles rather than intrinsically having that. Magic is going to be supernatural. Nothing aside from that will be intrinsically supernatural. Any magical ability will have to be done through the use of magic circles. Because from our perspective, supernatural force, magical force can't be explained. From the perspective of people within this universe, though, the idea is that this would be to them as, physics or mathematics. Anything like that would be to us. It's a science. It's something you can figure out and you can learn about. Right? So that's the basic how it's gonna work. I did toss a couple other things in my notes here. That was just stuff that I thought sounded cool though, and isn't super important to this other stuff. It's stuff like it's gonna be like a binary star system. It's gonna have like 5 moons, because that's just fun. It's different to the world we live in, and that just makes it more fun, A bunch of silly stuff like that. It's meant to just be a cool, fun, stupid thing, right? Now, that is going to be the end of the video today. This video, I didn't make any notes. For my other videos on this, I've made notes. This was purely me rambling. In the future, as this stuff starts getting fleshed out more, eventually I'll create, like, note page full of notes on world building. That's when stuff's really going to start to take off, right? But anyways, that's all I've got for tonight. Check in next time when I do a thing. If all goes well, I will have a video out on Monday. Might be a bit late. I did not time it right. Look forward to that though. Bye.